Hey, welcome to Beyond the Yoke Woodworking. My name is Jordan, and today I'm going to show you how I built this patio chair set. Let's get started. So when it comes to outdoor furniture, buying it can be overwhelmingly expensive. So can building it if you try to overdo it. With that said, I'm going to keep this project simple and affordable. I'm building this outdoor chair set with a few 2x4s and 2x6s. So I began by breaking down my boards at the miter saw, and if you don't have a miter saw, then a circular saw and a speed square will work just fine. Anyways, most of the cuts are straight 90s, while a couple will be angled cuts. And don't worry about all these measurements right now, as I will be including those in the build plans. After breaking down all my boards, I brought all my pieces over to the workbench and set up my pocket hole jig. Now, while I'm drilling out all these pocket holes, I would like to mention that you don't have to use pocket holes to build these chairs, but by applying these, they will hide all of the screws. But if a bunch of screw heads don't bother you, you can easily drill the chairs together from the outside using deck screws. The last thing to do before assembly is go ahead and sand down each piece. Now, you don't want to get a splinter while you're outside trying to relax and enjoy your sweet tea, so make sure to take a close look at the armrest and the seat slats while sanding. Okay, after all that prep work, I wanted to lay these pieces out for no other reason than visual effect. You're welcome. At that moment, I noticed now would be a good time to explain the pocket holes on the mitered pieces. As you can see here on the backrest and rear legs, they look identical, but they are actually mirror images of one another. Keep that in mind when drilling out these holes. Also, on the rear legs, the angle is cut on both ends and the legs are shaped like a parallelogram. Now it was time for assembly. I began by assembling the legs and armrest together. I marked out on the armrest where to line up the front and rear leg and then clamped it to the workbench. I then fastened the legs to the armrest with pocket hole screws. As you can see, this is only one side of the chair, and I repeated the same steps to make the other side. Remember, these leg assemblies need to be mirror images of each other, not identical. Just double check yourself before fastening everything together to save you some frustration later on. After building the leg assemblies, I put those aside and began working on the seat. Now I'm basically building a square with these pieces. To make this step easy, I was able to hold it all together with this clamp while I fastened down all the pocket screws. If you don't have any clamps, you can rest the pieces against a wall. That way they won't slide away from you when you apply pressure while driving in the screws. With the seat frame built, I then inserted the seat slats with the pocket holes facing up. After spacing out the slats, I began fastening them to the seat frame with pocket screws. Make sure to use a flat surface when installing these slats so they stay flush with the top of the seat frame. The last thing you want to do is flip this thing over and find all of them are out of whack. After completing the seat, I started working on the backrest. With the two angled pieces standing straight up in the air with the pocket holes facing each other, I inserted a slat in between them. I then applied my clamp and fastened it down with the pocket screws. I then took the backrest and sat it on top of the seat with it flush on the edges. While carefully holding it steady, I was able to drive down the pocket screws on each side. After that, I laid the backrest face down and inserted the slats just like I did for the seat. I spaced them out evenly and followed with the pocket screws. Hey, if you're enjoying the build so far, consider subscribing and giving the video a thumbs up. It helps support the channel and I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, moving on. Now that I have the seat and backrest assembled together, I took the project to the floor. I then grabbed one of those leg/armrest assemblies and laid it across. After getting everything aligned to where it's supposed to be, I fastened it down with exterior wood screws. 2 each in the front and rear legs. Now, like I said earlier about if you don't have a pocket hole jig, you can assemble the seat and backrest slats with exterior screws from the outside just like this. The only problem is you will have a lot of screw heads showing, which is fine, it just won't be as visually appealing. Anyways, after installing the legs on that side, I flipped the chair over and repeated the same steps for the other side. After sitting the chair upright, I wanted to add a little bit more support to the backrest, so I drove a screw through the backrest support and into the side of the armrest. I did the same thing to the other side. By adding these screws, they will tie the entire chair together. Now, to cover up these pocket holes on the inside of the chair, I used these wood plugs that are made specifically for them. I just applied some glue and slid the plugs in by hand. Nothing to it. Now that the chair was finished, I decided to test it out, and I quickly realized that I needed a side table. So I went through my scraps from building the chair and came up with just enough material to make a small table. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all that cutting and sanding and all that jazz. This table is super simple, just a few pocket holes here and there. And it went together really fast, so that was nice. And I'll include this table in the build plans in case you want to build one to match your chair too. It's a quick project and a nice little bonus build. Anyway, to build this, I started by making 2 leg assemblies and then added a couple of aprons to one of those with some pocket screws. I then added the other leg assembly using pocket screws with the help of a clamp, and I also needed a right angle drill attachment for this step since the opening was too tight to fit my drill in. I followed that by laying out my top pieces and aligning my base with an even overhang on all 4 sides. I then finished it off by applying a few pocket hole screws. Now, I know this little table isn't anything fancy, but I'm sure I will appreciate it when a time comes to set something down. After that, I laid out a drop cloth and brought over the chair and table. And somewhere along the way, I also built another chair off camera. Anytime you're building furniture that will go outside, it's best to protect it with a top coat of some sorts. You could use a deck stain, some exterior paint, or some form of clear coat. I'm using a deck stain for these chairs because that's what I already had on hand and I like this color. Anyway, I ended up brushing on 2 coats and calling it good. After all that dried, I finished the chairs off by adding some cushions. In my opinion, they're comfortable even without them. But to really make them pop, I decided to go ahead and add the cushions. I found these on Amazon and they come in a few different color options, and I'll leave a link for those in the video description if you want to check those out. Anyway, here's how they turned out. Not too bad for construction grade lumber. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the build, and if you want to build this same patio set, I left a link for the build plans in the video description. To close this out, I'd like to read a passage from the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. And it says here, "In the beginning the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He, who is Jesus, existed in the beginning with God. God created everything through him, and nothing was created except through him. The Word gave life to everything that was created, and his life brought light to everyone. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it." Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.